All right. Hello, Perry County. My name is Jesse Watkins. I'm the Executive Director of the Council on Aging here. And today is actually Falls Prevention Awareness Day, an initiative that has been started by the National Council on Aging and other organizations such as Local Councils on Aging and the Purdue Extension have come together to continue this initiative. And so I'm here today with Megan Jaspersen. She's the Health and Human Services educator for Purdue Extension here in Perry County. And we're just going to have a little bit of a discussion about falls prevention and a few facts, a risk assessment at the end, and then I believe that she even has some information about a matter of balance class that Purdue is hosting actually with the Spencer County Council on Aging. So we hope that you'll stay with us the next few minutes and listen to what we've got. I don't know about you, but I've taken a tumble here and there. Falls are no fun at all. They're scary when you lose control, and there's nothing that you can do to save yourself. A lot of times injuries, I always hurt myself. They used to say weebles wobble, but they won't fall down. That's not true. We get down and then we're stuck for a little while. But let me share with you just a few facts about falls before I turn it over to Megan, and she'll continue on with us this afternoon. Millions of people aged 65 and older fall every single year. Falls are a leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries, not just in this country, but worldwide. Many times falls cause hip fractures and other bones to break, head trauma, and unfortunately even death at times. It's estimated that somebody falls, an older adult falls every 13 seconds in this country and is admitted to the ER department for that. Older adults are hospitalized for fall-related injuries 5 times more often than for injuries from other causes. So that's pretty impressive. Those are numbers that really validate Falls Prevention Awareness Days and our cause today for being online with you. Falls don't just cause broken bones like arms, wrists, ankles, and hips. Sometimes they're not just broken, but they're fractures, head injuries. Just a lot of things can happen as a product of a fall. So Megan's going to jump in now, and she's going to share some information with you. And we appreciate Purdue Extension and Megan Jaspersen being with us today.
Thanks so much, Jesse. Yes, and as he alluded to, why does this matter? Well, falls not only cause broken bones and head injuries, but many people who fall, even if they're not injured, become afraid of falling. And that's really a big problem, because this fear may cause a person to cut down on everyday activities, which leads to decreased mobility and your ability to get around, and loss of physical fitness, which in turn actually increases your risk of falling. And I'm going to throw a few more facts at you. Jesse did a great job of setting the stage for us, but among people who do fall, actually 20 to 30% suffer moderate to severe injuries, such as cuts or lacerations, like he said, hip fractures, head traumas, other injuries. And these really have an effect on your independence. And these can also cause traumatic brain injuries. And so this is certainly something that we want to try to avoid, not just because of the physical aspect of it, but also, have you ever stopped to think about the cost of falling and how expensive that could be? Here's another quote for you. On average, hospitalization for the cost of a single fall injury is about $35,000. So depending on what type of insurance coverage you have, or if you do have insurance coverage or not at all, that can really be a big hit financially as well. And so we want to give you guys today some information about how to prevent falls. And I'm going to turn it back over to Jesse to talk with you a little bit about some of the things that you can do to prevent falls. starting with making an appointment with your doctor and some of the things you should keep in mind to discuss.
Thanks, Megan. Falls are no laughing matter, obviously, with the expense associated, and not just that, but all the injuries that can be incurred from it. As Megan said, making an appointment with your doctor is one of the first key points to preventing falls. And when you go to talk to your doctor, a lot of times it's not easy to have these conversations. So, hey, doc, I'm not as steady on my feet as what I used to be. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting around. Sometimes if I get up too fast, I lose my balance, get a little dizzy. But one of the main things that you need to discuss with your doctor when you're talking to him about fall prevention is, what kind of medications are you taking? Make a list of those medications. Take them with you. Let your doctor go through those and review them. Some medications might cause some side effects or even interactions that make you more at risk for falling. Be open and honest with your doctor. Be open and honest with yourself. Have you fallen before? Write down, keep a list. If you see that you're falling and it's becoming a regular thing, maybe you need to mark it on the calendar or keep a list of somewhere, maybe not for the whole world to see, but when you've had an incident at home, when you have fallen, include some details about when and where and how. Maybe identify if the dog ran across your path, or if you hung your toe on the corner of the wall coming around. Be prepared and be comfortable to discuss those things with your physician. Maybe you have a health condition that causes a fall. Sometimes eye and ear disorders could increase your risk for falling. So just be prepared to discuss those things with your doctor. Your doctor is there for you just like anybody else is. We're here for you today. We care about your health and safety, or we wouldn't have put this together as part of the Council on Aging and the Purdue Extension. Your doctor cares about you, your family, your friends. Talk to somebody about those things. Megan's going to share with you some other tips and things that we need to look at as well. Go ahead, Megan.
Thanks, Jesse. And so one other thing that we recommend when we're speaking about doctor's appointments is having your eyes checked by an eye doctor at least once per year, and making sure that you have your eyeglasses updated as needed. It might just be a matter of you have blurry vision, or you have cataracts that are preventing you from seeing clearly and causing you to trip up. So that's something that's really important that you do at least once a year. We talked about the head. Now let's scoot down to the feet. Okay. One thing that is so important that I cannot stress enough is that you need to be wearing sensible shoes. So I want you to really think about what's on your feet the majority of the time and consider changing your footwear as part of your falls prevention plan. So if you're the type of person that likes to be dressed to the nines and is always wearing high heels, or you're a little more casual and you're usually around in floppy slippers or shoes with slick soles that can make you slip up, stumble, or fall, think about what can you change there, as well as just if you walk around your house a lot in your socks, that's also a hazard. So we really want to stress wearing properly fitting and sturdy shoes with non-skid soles. That can really help give you a little bit more traction and make falling less likely. And then I want to kind of switch gears and think about moving from your body into your home. Okay, so removing home hazards is something that is so important when we think about falls prevention. And so Jesse and I are going to highlight a few things that we want you to consider in your home. First and foremost is removing items from walkways and high traffic areas. If you know you're traveling certain routes through your house every day and it is cluttered, take the time to declutter, okay? And that includes securing any kind of loose rugs or carpets that you have, or just removing those from your house altogether. Repairing loose floorboards or carpeting, that can be something else. It can just take a teeny tiny little lip to cause somebody to trip up. And then, make things easily accessible that use that are used frequently by you. Store items within easy reach. Let's say the kitchen. That's a prime area that I know. I have a great grandma who climbs up on a little step stool every day to reach stuff up way high in her kitchen, and it drives me crazy because it's just an accident waiting to happen. So make sure that you are storing items easily within reach that you use frequently. And then as we're in the kitchen thinking about that, making sure that you're cleaning up any spills, grease, or food that could cause you to trip as well. And then I'll hand it back over to Jesse to talk about lighting in your home.
Those are all great tips and tricks, Megan. It's always important to remember, especially in the kitchen. It seems like kitchens and bathrooms are two of the major places that older Americans end up falling in their home. And so we can't stress how much importance there is on those two rooms and making sure that they're clutter-free, spills are cleaned up. Something else that we like to look at a lot of times is lighting in the home. Wherever you are, where you're living, as you get older, it's a natural process that maybe it's a little bit harder to see. Lighting always helps with that. Some buildings are naturally dark. Some homes, when we were in our 20s and 30s, we thought it was a brilliant idea to build a house in the middle of the forest. We like the shade in the summertime to keep us a little bit cooler. We like to see the falling leaves in the fall, but we find that sometimes it makes our home just a little bit darker. So maybe we need a few extra lamps. Maybe we need brighter light bulbs. Whatever the situation is, it's important to keep our home brightly lit to avoid tripping on objects that are often hard to see. Night lights are a great asset to have in your home. Whether it's in the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom. They don't put out a whole lot of light, but just enough to help you see where you're going in a dark space. Lamps within reach of your bed or in the middle of the night. I'm a lamp person. Every room in my house has a lamp in it. I love my lamps, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. Lamps are a great tool to help keep your path safe. Always know where your light switches are. Light switches, a lot of times we hide them behind things or right next to pictures. They're hard to find a lot of times when you're fumbling around in the dark. But if you keep the path to the light switches clear, it makes life so much easier when you can just reach and you know where you're reaching, what you're reaching for. Hit that light switch, the light comes on, ta-da, you're in good shape. It's always a good idea to turn on lights before you go up or down stairs, either one. Stairs are scary in and of themselves, and older Americans and stairs don't always mix. I'm a younger American, and younger Americans and stairs don't always mix. Just because the leaves are falling doesn't mean you and I should be. These tricks and tips that we're giving you today are sure to help us prevent some of that. Flashlights. Virtually every room in your house should probably have a flashlight. You never know when the power is going to go out and you're going to want to see something. So don't be afraid to have a flashlight on your end table or in the drawer in the kitchen cabinet or something. Just make sure that you've got plenty of access to appropriate lighting for your home.
Okay, and with that, thank you, Jesse. I do want to stress the use of assistive devices. If your doctor has recommended that you use some type of assistive device to help you keep steady or prevent a fall, please do it. Like we said, this all kind of starts with an appointment with your doctor and discussing concerns, and they have ideas that can help you to prevent falling. And some of the assistive devices that they might recommend are for you to use a walking cane or a walker. They might encourage you to place more handrails on your stairways if you don't have those prevalent in your home. Jesse mentioned bathrooms, so non-slip treads in the shower are so important. Other things in the bathroom we can do, raised toilet seats or grab bars in the shower or the tub. These just really help make those areas a little bit more accessible. And And then, sometimes it helps to have a sturdy plastic seat for your shower or tub if you just need to sit down, and that's more comfortable for you. Do it. Use these assistive devices. That is what they are there for. There is no shame in having these in your home. It's really just a move to increase your independence. And as we're talking about moving, that's one other thing I want to stress to you is to keep moving. Okay, I know sometimes when we have that fear of falling or as we age and our gait starts to change, your first inclination might be, well, I better slow down, I better stop moving. But physical activity can really go a long way towards fall prevention. And this is something else that you should talk to your doctor about. So if your doctor's okay, consider you might want to do some activities such as walking, water workouts, or Tai Chi, some chair yoga type things. These activities reduce the risk of falls and can really improve your strength, your balance, and your coordination and allow you to stay independent for longer. Now, if you find yourself avoiding physical activity because you are afraid it might make you fall, talk to your doctor and they might be able to give you some tips or some pointers or some things to consider as you are thinking about starting that. And one other thing I really do want to stress is balance. As you age, having good balance and working on your balance is really important towards fall prevention. And there's a lot of good balance exercises available. We're going to throw some resources out at the end of this. And some of these websites have excellent exercise videos that showcase balance moves that you can do to really improve your balance and decrease your likelihood of falling.
All right, those are all fabulous ideas. Physical activity, like you said, my goodness, that goes a long way towards overall health and well-being, not just fall prevention that we're talking about today, but just keeping yourself healthy year-round, no matter what your circumstance is. Even if you can just move a little, move a little. Every little bit really does count. Sometimes we get so caught up in prevention that we kind of lose sight of what should we do if it happens. We like to think that we are providing you with enough tips and information to keep you from falling, but what if you fall? Like I said a while ago, falling is such a scary thing. To feel, your body falling maybe from an upright position and knowing that it's a long way down is very scary, especially if you've ever seen somebody fall or ever experienced it yourself. The first thing that I think is very important after a fall is just take several deep breaths. Just calm down, assess the situation in your mind, maybe not attempt to move right then. Just stay still for a few minutes and just get your bearings, so to speak. Then you can kind of play it through your mind to decide if you're hurt, and if you are, to what severity. Do these things before you even try to get up. Getting up too quick or in the wrong way, if you're injured, can make it that much worse. If you do think that you can get up safely without help, it's always beneficial to roll over on your side. Rest again, take your time. Don't be in any kind of a hurry to get back up. Your body needs that time to readjust and to realign. Your blood pressure plays such an important role in this. Slowly get up on your hands and knees. If you can find a sturdy chair, crawl over to that chair to use that to help you. Put your hands on the chair seat, slide one foot forward so that it's flat on the floor. Keep the other leg bent so the knee is on the floor. This produces some extra stability as you prepare for the climb. From the kneeling position, slowly rise. Turn your body to sit in the chair. Again, take your time. There's no need to rush. If you're hurt or you can't get up on your own, ask somebody for help or call 911. If you're alone, try to get in a comfortable position. Wait for somebody to get there to help you. And whatever you do, the next time you see your doctor, or even if you don't have an appointment very soon, go ahead and maybe make an appointment. Let your doctor know. At least get a call into his office and say, hey, I fell the other day, and just explain the situation to him. It's important. It's important to keep yourself safe. Living at home alone a lot of times is a scary situation, Megan. Sometimes especially I know my grandparents, as they began to age, they were always afraid of falls. They were afraid that nobody would be around to help them. And they were both in a position where, they could help each other the best they could, but sometimes one of them wasn't strong enough to help the other. And fortunately, they had somebody that they could call. They could call any of us, and we would come running. But unfortunately, a lot of older Americans live alone, and they don't have somebody to check on them regularly. So maybe if you're watching us today and you're not an older American and you're not worried about falling, which we should be at any age, maybe you have an elderly neighbor that you should maybe touch base with from time to time. Check in on them. Say, hey, don't feel bad about calling me if there's ever anything I can do for you. Just simple things like that. Caring about somebody goes a long way. And showing that you care is really probably, and maybe Megan would agree with this, the most effective way to prevent and recover from falls.
Absolutely, Jesse. And just extending that invitation, and or if it's you that's concerned about falling, knowing your network and the folks that you can contact is so important. So think about that ahead of the time, because you're not always going to know what to do in the situation if you've not thought it through on the front end. So great tips, Jesse, on how to get up and what to do if you actually do fall. So I know that we've given you guys a lot of information today. What I want to wrap up with is just a risk assessment. Okay, so if you've got something handy right next to you to write down, we're going to keep track of a couple points. I'm going to ask you 12 simple questions, which will help you evaluate how high of a fall risk you currently are. Okay, so you can either grab a pen or a pencil, or just kind of keep track of your points on your fingers, because it's just 12 questions, and we'll talk about your score at the end. Okay, so question number 1, have I fallen in the past year? If the answer is yes, give yourself 2 points. On all of these questions, if the answer is no, you don't score at all. You get a score of 0 for that question. Okay, I have fallen in the past year. If yes, 2 points. Question number 2, I use or have been advised to use a cane or a walker to get around safely. If yes for this one, that's worth 2 points again. If no, give yourself 0. I use or have been advised to use a cane or a walker to get around safely. Question number 3 is, sometimes I feel unsteady when I am walking. If the answer for you is yes to this question, give yourself 1 point. Sometimes I feel unsteady when I am walking. Number 4, I steady myself by holding onto furniture when walking at home. If you've got to grab onto something to feel stability, give yourself 1 point for this answer. I steady myself by holding onto furniture when walking at home. That's worth 1 point. Question number 5, I am worried about falling. If yes, give yourself a point. Just the simple act of being worried about it counts as a point. Number 6, I need to push with my hands to stand up from a chair. If you cannot stand up without using your hands off of a chair, give yourself a point. That indicates a fall risk. Okay, I need to push up with my hands to stand up from a chair. That's 1 point. Question 7, I have trouble stepping up onto a curb or a sidewalk or any kind of lip. If the answer is yes, give yourself a point for this one. Number 8, I often have to rush to the toilet. If the answer for this one is yes, give yourself 1 point again. The reason for this is that if we're in a hurry to get places, that's oftentimes when we get careless, and that's how falls can happen. So if you find yourself often rushing to the toilet, give yourself 1 point. Number 9, I have lost some feeling in my feet. If yes, give yourself a point for that one. That can also increase our fall risk. Number 10, I take medicine that sometimes makes me feel lightheaded or more tired than usual. Jesse addressed medication earlier in this presentation. If you take different kinds of medications that might make you feel lightheaded, give yourself 1 point for this question. Number 11 is I take medicine to help me sleep or improve my mood. If yes, give yourself a point for this also. The reason being is that depression in older adults is actually linked to a higher falls risk. Okay, so if you take medicine to help you sleep or improve your mood, give yourself a point. And our last question, number 12, is I often feel sad or depressed. Give yourself 1 point for this one. As I just explained, that just increases your falls risk. Okay. So now that was all of our questions. I want you to add up the number of points for each yes answer. And if you scored 4 points or more, you might be at risk for falling. And so I really would encourage you to discuss this with your doctor and tell him or her your risks and why you feel like you are at risk for falling, and maybe just ask if they have any additional recommendations or things that you can be doing to help prevent that. And a couple citations that we wanted to throw at you today. Most of this information came from the following sources. We pulled information from the Mayo Clinic, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Falls Prevention Resource Center, and the National Institutes on Health. So I'll go ahead and throw that in the chat box. And you can have those resources there. If you want to explore some websites a little bit further and get some additional information, those are there for you. Also, Jesse mentioned earlier, Purdue Extension is hosting a Matter of Balance class in October and November. This is an eight-week class that we're doing in conjunction with the Tri-County YMCA. And what we'll be doing is essentially covering this information more in depth on falls prevention. And there's also an exercise component to this to help you improve your balance. This class will be held at the Spencer County Youth and Community Center in Chrisney, Indiana. And if you, I know we're talking about in Perry today, but this class is, additional classes will be coming to the Perry County area soon. But if you are interested in this Chrisney, Indiana class and you'd like to participate, you can sign up by calling me directly at 513-403-7381, or you can shoot me at email at mjaspers@purdue.edu. And as Jesse said, remember, the leaves are starting to fall, but you absolutely should not be. So thank you all for joining us today so much.
Thanks, Megan. I appreciate Purdue and the programs that they provide and our partnership between the Council on Aging and Purdue Extension. So thanks for joining us this afternoon, and I hope that Perry County feels safer about falling and that we're going to go out of our way to prevent that. And just thanks. Thanks for being with us today. All right, Perry County, we'll see you soon. Have a good afternoon.